Okay, Simon asks a question, and Simon says, just to set the stage, I spent about 35 years from age 21 not being athletic, active, or anything like the folks you are used to. Simon and all my other listeners, 19 out of 20 people exercise. I hang around 5 people who exercise, but I hang around thousands of people. So most people I know don't exercise, so I'm sorry. But about 18 months ago, I picked up a kettlebell and something clicked. For the first time in my life, exercise habit stuck. So 18 months, I think, is enough time for the habit to be there. That's good to hear. Could barely do 10 to 12 minutes with 12K kettlebell at first, but just finished 10 sets of the armor building complex. 1 set equals 2 clean, 2 press, 2 goblet squat. So you're doing the single side, I guess, with 24 kilogram in 18 minutes. Not bad at all. Followed by 180-yard farmer's life carries with 24. So I think this is decent progress. To be honest, ago, I felt 24 kilos was unreachable. As someone who is just a few steps beyond beginner, what would you recommend I prioritize? Last few months, I focus on building strength versus endurance. I still get my heart rate up even though I'm doing low reps, but I'm a fat old guy. First off, stop saying that about yourself. I'm begging you, okay? Simon, you can't talk like that about yourself. I know it's funny and I do it myself, but you're in the process and you got to appreciate now. You got to appreciate who you are now. You are doing great. Keep it up. Words have weight. Words have meaning, and you're doing fine. Didn't mean to correct you. Should I be more focused on endurance and worry less about getting stronger? I'd love your opinion. Well, if I'm not great at math, but so I think you're 56, and at 56 you're plus 55. You're over the 55. So listen, I think since the jogging boom, I think we've been oversold on aerobics and those kinds of things. I'll get questions sometimes, and I don't even answer them sometimes. But it'll be questions like, Dan, how do you increase your VO2 max? And my first thing is always, well, what's your VO2 max now? Well, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, like that's one thing I like about my doctor. We only look because I go to 2 visits a year to my doctor. My insurance picks up one, I pay for the other because I think it's valuable. Because what we're always looking for is trends. With things like VO2 max, you want to have a trend. With your body weight, if you're trying to lose weight, it's the trend. If I come into if I just show up at a party, I weigh 195 to 201 right now. Kind of depends on the day of the week, really. So if I go to a certain thing and they say, how much do you weigh? And I'll say 200, and they'll say, oh my God, you're so fat. Why am I so fat at 200? Well, because that's a lot of weight. But I used to, as an athlete, weigh 273. So my trend from 273 to 200 is down. My A1C, which is happy, has been trending down for a while, even though it wasn't very high to begin with. My good cholesterol is still trending upwards, HDL. My problem cholesterols are either fine or trending down. Because I donate blood 5 times a year, I can look at my heart rate and blood pressure and hematocrit levels, 5 times, and with blood tests, so 7 times a year. I get all kinds of information, and I'm looking for trends. That's a long way to go to make my point. I think sometimes we get oversold, especially as Americans, on this is right and this is wrong. That moral theology thing, I'm always sitting here. For most people over 55, and I use Phil Maffetone's numbers, if you do the armor building complex, I guarantee your numbers are in the Maffetone zone when you go on that half-hour walk after you lift. I'm to the point that I don't even take my heart rate anymore. I gave blood the other day, and I don't do it often enough. I should do it every time, but often when I donate blood, I'll have the phlebotomist take a picture of me, and then I'll write something on my Coach Dan John Instagram account. I should do it more often. But my resting heart rate was 58 3 hours after I lifted weights. My resting heart rate at age 68 is 58. Hell, if it was 68 at 68, those are good numbers. So I feel that I'm getting the benefits of cardiovascular work without having to do the sin of cardiovascular work. That's something almost sounded like Pavel there. The disgrace, he calls it the disgrace of cardio. All you're trying to do is get your heart and lungs doing their job, with your arteries and veins. That's the job of this. Why do I not take my heart rate while I'm doing my walk anymore? Is because if you use Maffetone's numbers, for me it's 180 minus 68. So it means I can't go higher than 112. And his numbers, if we're going to use them exactly, if I'm wrong in this, I never get it right. Well, let's just say my heart rate needs to be about, come on, 100 to 120, 100 to 110. There's 90 to 120, even that range. The reason I'm doing all that extra changing, if you're on medicine, according to Phil Maffetone, you should change your numbers. And I do take metformin because of the liver the issue I had back in the 80s. If you've been sick, you're supposed to, you lower it. So I always add all that variation. Sadly, I didn't include you in that. So I didn't. If I threw you off, I apologize. But let's just say those numbers are very easy for me to get to. And when my heart rate's at 110, I'm not getting that thump, 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 thump. It's just doing its job. So for many of my listeners, lift weights and go for a walk is all you need. And of course, Rusty Moore also teaches us that if you lift weights and go for a walk, your free fatty acids, and I always say get scooped up like Pac-Man. And of course, if you don't know what Pac-Man was, you're probably not a normal listener to my podcast. I think you should focus on strength. And I think you should, especially at your age, you should really focus on body composition. So I think you're doing a lot of the right stuff. The fact that you're doing kettlebells and adding walking. I like the 10,000 steps a day because it's simple for me to remember. It's nothing fancy. I guess there's a song. Let's see. So I'm 6 foot. Okay. And I guess there's a song. Someone told me, I'm 6 foot with a six pack with 6-figure income. I like that kind of thinking. For me, I like the idea of 8 glasses of water a day, 8 hours of sleep, and 10,000 steps. I guess 8,000 would be a little bit sound better, but you know what I mean. I like those numbers that your mom would have said you should do, your grandmother said you should do, and they work. And that's why I like it. If you're doing the armor building formula, you're doing the ABC, I'd recommend the armor building formula to you on this. And the reason I'm saying that, Simon, is I think you need the hypertrophy work of the press family, the overhead press family, either the doubles or the singles, however you work it out. I think that'll really make a difference with your progress. So thank you, Simon. And I think that's a good question. And I think there was a point in there before I started rambling off that might have helped some people. Folks, if you're over 55, body build, working mobility, and walk. Hi, I'm Dan. I'm 68. And I do mobility 7 days a week. I lift weights 3, and I walk at least 10,000 steps 7 days a week. I eat my protein. I eat my veggies. I eat my fruit. And if there's a secret, and sleep. If there's a secret, I just gave it away.